What did Jacob see in heaven? This shocking dream will leave you speechless. Have you ever felt completely adrift, weighed down by choices that chase you no matter how far you run? Picture this: a vast, endless night sky stretching above, a perfect stillness surrounding you. Then, out of that darkness, a vision, a ladder of pure light reaching from the earth beneath your feet to the heavens themselves. Angels move gracefully, ascending and descending, as though carrying messages from another realm. And there, standing beside you in your most fragile moment, is God. A dream? A sign? Or something even more profound? What if this story could be yours? Journey with us as we unravel a tale that will stir your soul and make you question everything. Like, subscribe, and stay to the end. You won't regret it. The Desert Night, a canvas of infinite stars, a silent witness to the human drama unfolding beneath. Here, in the heart of ancient Canaan, a man sleeps, his dreams about to become a portal to the divine. Jacob, a name that means supplanter, a man who has wrestled with his own conscience and the consequences of his choices, finds himself exiled, adrift in the wilderness. He is a man between worlds, between identities, between the weight of his past and the uncertainty of his future. He is, in essence, a reflection of us all, caught in the liminal spaces of our lives, the thresholds where the familiar dissolves and the unknown looms large. And then the impossible happens. A dream, yes, but a dream that shatters the boundaries of the mundane. A dream that pierces the veil between the seen and the unseen. A ladder, a bridge, a conduit between earth and heaven. Not a ladder of stone or wood, but a ladder of light, a symbol of the very connection we crave. The longing for transcendence that resides deep within the human heart. Angels, messengers of the divine, moving between these two realms, their presence a testament to the intimate relationship between God and humanity. This is not merely a vision, it is an encounter, a theophany, a revelation that redefines Jacob's understanding of reality. And above it all, or perhaps beside him, in the very heart of his vulnerability, stands God himself. Not a thunderous, distant God, but a God who enters into the very fabric of Jacob's dream. A God who meets him in his exile, in his fear, in his deepest need. This is the God of intimacy, the God who seeks to bridge the chasm between our brokenness and his boundless love. Jacob, the supplanter, the deceiver, finds himself in the presence of the one who sees him, knows him, and loves him regardless of his failings. This is the radical grace of God, a grace that seeks us out in our darkest moments, a grace that transforms our wilderness into a sacred space. This dream, this ladder, this divine encounter has resonated through the ages, capturing the imagination of countless souls. Why? Because it speaks to the fundamental human desire for connection, for meaning, for transcendence. We build cathedrals that reach for the heavens. We seek solace in prayer. We embark on pilgrimages to sacred places, all in an effort to touch the hem of the divine. Jacob's ladder is a symbol of this universal quest, a testament to the enduring human longing to bridge the gap between our earthly existence and the mystery of God. Jacob's ladder emerges not in a moment of triumph, but in a moment of profound vulnerability. He is a fugitive, a man fleeing the consequences of his actions. He is between identities, between lands, between the chapters of his life. It is precisely in this liminal space, this threshold between what was and what will be, that heaven opens. This is a profound truth. Divine encounters often come not in our moments of strength, but in our nights of uncertainty. It is in the wilderness of our lives, in the places where we feel most lost and alone, that God often reveals himself most powerfully. Jacob's ladder is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we are never truly alone. The bridge between earth and heaven is always there, waiting to be discovered, waiting to transform our lives. A fugitive between worlds. Genesis 28, a single chapter, yet a pivotal moment in the unfolding drama of salvation history. Jacob, a man whose very name, Yaakov, whispers of grasping and supplanting, finds himself a fugitive. He has manipulated, deceived, and ultimately stolen his brother's birthright, a blessing that carried with it the weight of divine promise. Now he flees the wrath of Esau, his journey a stark reversal of his grandfather Abraham's pilgrimage of faith. Band called from Haran to Canaan, a journey of obedience and trust. Jacob, driven from Canaan towards Haran, a journey of fear and consequence. He retraces the steps of his ancestors, but in the opposite direction, a poignant symbol of his spiritual disorientation. The map of his life has been torn, and he is lost within its fragmented contours. And then the text offers a simple yet profound observation. He came to a certain place and stayed there for the night because the sun had set, Genesis 28:11. But the Hebrew language, rich in nuance, reveals a deeper truth. It is not just a place, but ha-makom, the place, a place pregnant with meaning, a site of divine encounter, though Jacob remains oblivious to its significance. He is a man running from his past, unaware that he is about to encounter his future, a future shaped by the very God he has so far ignored. Ha-makom, a place where the veil between heaven and earth is thin, a place where the divine will break through the mundane. This is the paradoxical nature of grace. It often finds us not in our moments of triumph, but in our moments of utter vulnerability, in the places we least expect. Jacob, the calculating one, the strategist, the man who has relied on his own cunning, now finds himself utterly vulnerable, alone, exposed at the mercy of the elements, and perhaps at the mercy of his own conscience. The Jewish sages, with their profound understanding of the human condition, note that this is the first mention of night in Jacob's story. Night, not merely as the absence of light, but as a symbol of the unknown, of fear, of the deep recesses of the soul where hidden truths reside. His name, Yaakov, a name that echoes the grasping of a heel. The act of supplanting has defined his life thus far. He has lived by grasping, by human striving, by the relentless pursuit of his own desires. But now, as he surrenders to sleep, he must release control. He must relinquish the illusion of self-sufficiency, the delusion that he can navigate life solely by his own strength. He must confront the darkness within, the shadows of his own deceit. This surrender, this relinquishing of control, is a crucial step on the spiritual journey. It is in these moments of vulnerability, when we acknowledge our limitations, our brokenness, that we become open to the transformative power of grace. Jacob the supplanter, the deceiver, is about to learn that true strength lies not in grasping, but in surrender. He is about to discover that the God he has ignored is the very God who seeks him out, who meets him in his deepest need. He is about to learn that the true blessing is not something to be stolen, but something to be received, a gift freely given by a God who loves unconditionally. The night deepens, the silence intensifies, and in the heart of this solitary figure, a transformation is about to begin. Jacob, the fugitive, the man between worlds, is about to encounter the God who transcends all worlds. He is about to experience a dream that will forever alter the course of his life, a dream that will reveal the bridge between earth and heaven, a dream that will illuminate the path from grasping to grace, from deception to divine encounter. This night, this hamakom, this moment of surrender is the threshold between Jacob's past and his future, between his human striving and his divine destiny. And so, we wait, as Jacob waits, in the darkness, in the silence, in the liminal space between what was and what will be. We wait for the dawn, for the revelation, for the unfolding of the divine mystery that is about to transform a fugitive into a patriarch, a supplanter into a symbol of God's enduring covenant. For in the wilderness, in the desert of our own lives, God is waiting to meet us, to reveal himself, to bridge the chasm between our brokenness and his boundless love. The dream revealed, and then the dream. A dream that shatters the boundaries of the ordinary. A dream that opens a portal to the divine. What exactly does Jacob see? The Hebrew word sulam, traditionally translated as ladder, is a word that appears nowhere else in Scripture. This linguistic singularity invites us to ponder its deeper meaning. It is not merely a ladder, a simple structure of ascent, but a symbol of something far more profound, something that transcends our conventional understanding of reality. Some scholars suggest that sulam might be better understood as a stairway or ramp, a stepped structure akin to the ziggurats of Mesopotamia. These massive, imposing structures, built by ancient civilizations, were intended to be bridges between the human and the divine, pathways for the gods to descend to earth and for humans to ascend to the heavens. The ziggurats, with their tiered architecture, represent a human attempt to reach the transcendent, to bridge the gap between the earthly and the celestial. But Jacob's dream reveals something far greater than any human endeavor. The sulam is not a human construction, but a divine revelation, a bridge built by God himself, a testament to his initiative, his desire to connect with humanity. But more striking than the ladder itself is the one who stands at its summit, or perhaps beside Jacob. The Hebrew text is intriguingly ambiguous, stating that God stands above it or beside him. This ambiguity is not accidental. It is a profound theological statement. It underscores the paradoxical nature of God's presence, both transcendent and immanent, both beyond us and intimately near. This magnificent vision is not distant and removed, a mere spectacle for Jacob. It is intimately close, a personal encounter, a divine revelation tailored to Jacob's specific needs, his fears, his hopes. And then God speaks. His first words echo the promises made to Abraham, the promises of land, descendants, and blessing. These promises, passed down through generations, are now reaffirmed to Jacob, the supplanter, the deceiver, the man who least deserves them. This is the radical grace of God, a grace that seeks out the unworthy, that transforms the broken, that redeems the lost. But something new is added, something that speaks directly to Jacob's present condition, his fear, his isolation. Know that I am with you and will keep you wherever you go. Genesis 28:15. This is not merely a promise of future blessings. It is a declaration of God's immediate, unwavering presence. The God of sacred places, the God of Bethel, reveals himself as the God of the journey, the God who accompanies us in our wanderings, our exiles, our moments of uncertainty. This is a profound truth, a truth that resonates through the ages. God is not confined to sacred spaces, to temples or synagogues or churches. He is present in the wilderness, in the desert, in the liminal spaces of our lives. He is present in our moments of fear, in our moments of doubt, in our moments of utter vulnerability. He is the God who walks with us, who guides us, who sustains us, wherever we may go. This promise, "I am with you," is the heart of the gospel, the essence of divine love. It is a promise that transcends time and space, a promise that speaks to the deepest longing of the human heart, the longing for connection, for belonging, for divine presence. The angels, these celestial messengers, moving up and down the ladder, represent the ongoing dialogue between God and humanity. They are the intermediaries, the conduits of divine grace, the bearers of divine messages. Their movements are a symbol of God's active engagement in the world, His constant effort to reach out to us, to communicate His love, His mercy, His forgiveness. Jacob's dream is not a passive vision, but an active encounter, a dynamic exchange between heaven and earth, a testament to the living, dynamic relationship between God and His creation. And in the heart of this solitary figure, Jacob, a transformation is taking place. The supplanter, the deceiver, is being touched by the divine, being transformed by grace. He is experiencing a revelation that will forever alter the course of his life, a revelation that will redefine his understanding of God, of himself, of his place in the world. He is learning that true strength lies not in grasping but in surrender, that true blessing is not something to be stolen, but something to be received, a gift freely given by a God who loves unconditionally. And so we are left to ponder the mystery of Jacob's ladder, the bridge between earth and heaven, the symbol of divine connection. It is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, in our moments of isolation, in our moments of fear, we are never truly alone. God is always reaching out to us, always seeking to bridge the gap between our brokenness and His boundless love. Jacob's dream is a testament to the enduring power of divine grace, a promise that even the most flawed, the most broken, the most lost among us can encounter the living God, can experience the transformative power of His love. Angels ascending and descending, the ladder, the salam, its power as a symbol lies not only in its vertical orientation, the bridge it creates between above and below, transcendence and immanence, but also, and perhaps more profoundly, in the dynamic movement of the angels. They are not static figures frozen in a celestial hierarchy. They are in constant motion, ascending and descending, bridging the gap between heaven and earth. This bi-directional movement is the heart of Jacob's vision, a testament to the dynamic interchange between the divine and the human, a revelation that heaven and earth are not separate, isolated realms, but rather intimately connected in constant communication. This image of angels in motion traversing the ladder speaks to the very essence of divine revelation. It challenges the notion of a distant, detached God, a deity confined to the celestial sphere. Instead, it reveals a God who is actively engaged in the world, a God who sends His messengers, His angels, to bridge the gap between His divine realm and our human reality. The angels, these celestial intermediaries, are not mere observers. They are active participants in the unfolding drama of salvation history, bearers of divine messages, conduits of divine grace. Jewish tradition, with its profound understanding of the sacred text, finds deep meaning in this bidirectional movement of the angels. The Talmud, that vast repository of rabbinic wisdom, offers interpretations that illuminate the significance of this celestial traffic. Some sages suggest that the angels ascending are those who accompanied Jacob in Canaan, the land of his fathers, the familiar territory of his youth. They are the guardians of his past, the witnesses to his journey thus far. But those descending, they propose, are the angels who will guard him in foreign lands, in the uncharted territories of his future, in the lands of Laban, where he will face new challenges, new trials. This interpretation underscores the continuity of God's care, the unwavering presence of his protection wherever Jacob may go. Others propose that the ascending angels carry human prayers upward to the very throne of God, while the descending angels bring divine responses down, messages of comfort, guidance, and blessing. This interpretation highlights the reciprocal nature of the divine-human relationship, the ongoing dialogue between heaven and earth. It suggests that our prayers, our cries for help, our expressions of gratitude are not lost in the vastness of the cosmos. They are carried upward, heard by the divine ear, and answered with divine grace. The angels in this view are the messengers of hope, the bearers of divine intervention, the conduits of God's love. In either interpretation, we see a cosmos alive with intermediaries, with messengers traversing the apparent gap between worlds. This is a cosmos not of isolation, but of interconnectedness, a cosmos where heaven and earth are in constant communication, where the divine and the human are in ongoing dialogue. The angels, in their ceaseless movement, are a symbol of this dynamic interplay, a testament to the living presence of God in the world. They are the messengers of the divine, the bearers of good news, the heralds of salvation. This image of angels ascending and descending is not merely a poetic metaphor. It is a profound theological statement. It reveals the reality of a cosmos permeated by divine presence, a cosmos where the boundaries between the sacred and the secular are blurred, where the divine breaks through the mundane. It challenges the modern tendency to compartmentalize faith, to confine it to the private sphere, to separate it from the realities of everyday life. Jacob's vision reminds us that God is not confined to sacred spaces, to temples or churches or synagogues. He is present in the marketplace, in the workplace, in the home, in the very fabric of our lives. He is present in our moments of joy, in our moments of sorrow, in our moments of doubt, in our moments of fear. He is present wherever we are, wherever we go. The angels, in their ceaseless movement, are a reminder that we are never truly alone. We are surrounded by a cloud of witnesses, by a company of celestial beings, by the very presence of God Himself. This is the comfort of faith, the assurance of divine companionship, the knowledge that we are held in the loving embrace of the Creator. Jacob's vision is a testament to this enduring truth, a truth that transcends time and space, a truth that speaks to the deepest longing of the human heart, the longing for connection, for belonging, for divine presence. The angels in their dynamic movement are also a symbol of hope. They remind us that even in the midst of darkness, even in the face of adversity, even in the depths of despair, there is always hope. There is always the possibility of divine intervention. They are the messengers of good news, the bearers of divine grace, the heralds of salvation. Their presence is a reminder that God is always working, always moving, always seeking to bring about His kingdom, to restore His creation, to reconcile humanity to Himself. And so we are left to ponder the mystery of Jacob's ladder, the symbol of divine connection, the testament to God's enduring love. The angels in their ceaseless movement remind us that heaven and earth are not separate, isolated realms, but rather intimately connected, in constant communication. They are a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in our darkest moments we are never truly alone. God is always reaching out to us, always seeking to bridge the gap between our brokenness and His boundless love. Jacob's vision is a promise that even the most flawed, the most broken, the most lost among us, can encounter the living God, can experience the transformative power of His grace. Bethel, house of God, gate of heaven. And then the awakening. Jacob, roused from his profound dream, is transformed. He is no longer the calculating supplanter, the man of cunning and deceit. He is a witness to the divine, a soul touched by the transcendent. His first words, whispered in awe, reveal the depth of his transformation. Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. Genesis 28:16. This declaration is not merely an expression of surprise. It is a profound theological insight, a revelation of the nature of sacred space. Jacob's words reveal the core truth about sacred space. The divine presence precedes our recognition of it. God does not arrive when Jacob builds his altar, when he sets up his pillar of stones. God is already there, waiting to be acknowledged, waiting to be revealed. This is the radical nature of divine immanence, the truth that God is not confined to distant heavens, but is present in the very fabric of our reality, in the very ground beneath our feet. Jacob's experience shatters the illusion of a God who is distant and detached, a God who must be summoned or invoked. It reveals a God who is always present, always near, always seeking to reveal himself to those who are open to his presence. And then Jacob takes action. He gathers the stones that served as his pillow, the stones that bore witness to his dream, and he sets them up as a pillar, a monument to his encounter with the divine. This act is not merely a memorial. It is a declaration, a proclamation of God's presence in this place. He anoints the pillar with oil, a symbol of consecration, of setting apart for sacred use. He transforms this previously anonymous place, this hamakom, into a sacred site, a place of divine remembrance. This act of consecration is a testament to Jacob's transformation, his recognition of the divine presence that permeates the very ground he stands upon. Jacob names this previously anonymous place Bethel, house of God, and calls it the gate of heaven. This notion of a thin place where the veil between worlds grows transparent, where the divine seems more accessible, resonates across spiritual traditions, from the holy islands of Celtic Christianity, shrouded in mist and mystery, to the tirthas of Hinduism, sacred sites of pilgrimage and purification. Humans have marked locations where transcendence seems more palpable, where the divine seems closer. These sites, imbued with the prayers and devotion of generations, become beacons of spiritual longing, places of encounter with the sacred. Yet Jacob's experience suggests something revolutionary, something that challenges our conventional understanding of sacred space. The holy is not confined to traditional sacred sites, to temples or shrines or pilgrimage destinations. The holy can be encountered anywhere, even in the wilderness, even in flight, even in dreams. God's presence is not limited by geography or architecture. It transcends the boundaries of human construction, the limitations of human understanding. Jacob's encounter at Bethel reminds us that the divine can break through the ordinary, can transform the mundane, can reveal itself in the most unexpected places. This is the profound truth of divine immanence. God is present in the midst of our everyday lives, in the midst of our joys and sorrows, our triumphs and failures. He is present in the silence of a solitary prayer, in the laughter of children playing, in the compassion of a helping hand. He is present in the moments of doubt, in the moments of fear, in the moments of utter vulnerability. Jacob's experience at Bethel reminds us that we do not have to travel to distant lands or build grand structures to encounter the divine. We can encounter God in the very place where we stand, in the very moment we inhabit. Jacob's naming of Bethel, house of God, gate of heaven, is not merely a symbolic act, it is a declaration of his newfound understanding of reality. He has discovered that the boundary between heaven and earth is not a fixed, impenetrable barrier. It is a permeable membrane, a threshold where the divine and the human intersect, where the transcendent and the immanent meet. Bethel is not just a place, it is a symbol of this intersection, a testament to the possibility of divine encounter in the midst of the ordinary. And so Jacob leaves Bethel, a transformed man. He carries with him the memory of his dream, the assurance of God's presence, the knowledge that he is never truly alone. He carries with him the name of Bethel, house of God, gate of heaven, a reminder that the divine can be encountered anywhere, even in the midst of exile, even in the midst of fear. Jacob's journey continues, but he is no longer the same man who fled from Esau's wrath. He is now a man marked by the divine, a man who has encountered the living God, a man who carries within him the promise of God's enduring love. And so we are left to ponder the mystery of Bethel, the symbol of divine presence, the testament to God's enduring love. Jacob's experience reminds us that the holy is not confined to sacred spaces, but can be encountered anywhere, even in the wilderness, even in flight, even in dreams. It reminds us that God is always present, always near, always seeking to reveal himself to those who are open to his presence. It reminds us that we are never truly alone, that we are surrounded by the loving embrace of the Creator. And it reminds us that even in the midst of our ordinary lives, we can encounter the extraordinary, we can experience the transformative power of divine grace. Bethel is a promise that even the most flawed, the most broken, the most lost among us can encounter the living God, can experience the transformative power of his love. Bernard of Clairvaux, the ladder of humility. In the heart of the medieval era, amidst the rise of monasticism and the flourishing of mystical thought, Jacob's ladder became a potent and transformative symbol. It was no longer merely a biblical anecdote, but a profound metaphor, a roadmap for the soul's arduous yet glorious journey towards union with God. Among the most influential interpreters of this symbol was Bernard of Clairvaux, the 12th century Cistercian abbot, a man whose eloquence and spiritual insight shaped the landscape of medieval spirituality. For Bernard, Jacob's ladder was not a mere vision, but a lived reality, a pathway of humility leading to the very heart of divine love. Bernard, drawing inspiration from the rule of Saint Benedict, saw Jacob's ladder as a ladder of humility, a spiritual ascent comprised of 12 distinct rungs. These rungs, mirroring the 12 steps of Benedict's rule, represented the stages of self-acknowledge and spiritual growth. The gradual surrender of the ego to the divine. If you humble yourself, Bernard wrote, the ladder will lift you up. This paradoxical statement encapsulates the essence of his spiritual teaching. True exaltation comes not from self-assertion, but from self-effacement, from the willingness to descend into the depths of humility. Bernard's understanding of humility was not a passive acceptance of degradation, but an active pursuit of truth, a courageous confrontation with the shadow side of the self. We descend through self-knowledge, we ascend through knowledge of God, he declared. This descent into self-knowledge is a painful but necessary process, a stripping away of illusions, a recognition of our limitations and failings. It is a journey into the heart of our vulnerability, a confrontation with our own mortality. but it is also a journey of liberation, a release from the tyranny of the ego, a surrender to the grace of God. Bernard's innovation was to connect Jacob's ladder with Christ's teaching that whoever humbles themselves will be exalted, Matthew 23:12. This connection transformed the ladder from a mere symbol into a living pathway, a Christocentric journey of spiritual transformation. The paradox of spiritual ascent through descent became central to medieval spirituality, a cornerstone of monastic life, a guiding principle for all those seeking union with God. To climb towards heaven, one must first journey downward into honest self-acknowledge, into the recognition of one's own nothingness before the immensity of God's love. Bernard's ladder of humility is not merely a theoretical construct, but a practical guide for daily living. It is a call to cultivate self-awareness, to examine our motives, to confront our pride, and to embrace our limitations. It is a call to practice obedience, to submit our will to the will of God as expressed through the community and its leaders. It is a call to practice charity, to extend compassion to others, to serve the needs of the poor and the marginalized. It is a call to cultivate silence, to create space for contemplation, to listen to the still, small voice of God within. Bernard's understanding of humility is deeply rooted in his experience of monastic life, a life characterized by simplicity, obedience, and communal living. He saw the monastery as a school of humility, a place where individuals could learn to surrender their egos, to embrace their limitations, and to cultivate a spirit of service. He recognized that humility is not a solitary pursuit, but a communal endeavor, a shared journey of transformation, undertaken in the company of fellow believers. Bernard's legacy extends far beyond the walls of his monastery. His teachings on humility, his understanding of Jacob's ladder as a pathway to divine union, continue to inspire and challenge seekers on the spiritual path. He reminds us that true greatness comes not from self-assertion, but from self-surrender, from the willingness to descend into the depths of humility. He reminds us that the journey towards God is not a solitary pursuit, but a communal endeavor, a shared journey of transformation undertaken in the company of fellow believers. And so we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of Bernard of Clairvaux, his understanding of Jacob's ladder as a ladder of humility, a pathway to divine union. His teachings remind us that true exaltation comes not from self-assertion, but from self-effacement, from the willingness to descend into the depths of humility. They remind us that the journey towards God is not a solitary pursuit, but a communal endeavor, a shared journey of transformation undertaken in the company of fellow believers. They invite us to embark on our own journey of humility, to cultivate self-awareness, to embrace our limitations, and to surrender to the grace of God. Bonaventure, The Mind's Journey to God. Building upon the insights of earlier mystics, the Franciscan theologian Bonaventure developed a profound and influential interpretation of Jacob's ladder. In his masterpiece, The Soul's Journey into God, Bonaventure presents the ladder not merely as a physical structure, but as a map of the soul's journey towards union with the divine. For Bonaventure, the ladder has 6 distinct rungs, corresponding to 6 modes of contemplation, a graduated ascent from the material world to the ineffable mystery of God. Begins his journey not with abstract theological speculation, but with the created world itself. He sees God's presence reflected in every aspect of creation, in the intricate beauty of a flower, in the majesty of a mountain range, in the vastness of the cosmos. In the beginning, he writes, I call upon the first beginning, from whom all illumination descends as from the Father of lights. For Bonaventure, the created world is not merely a collection of material objects. It is a book of God's creation, a reflection of His divine wisdom and beauty. Bonaventure's vision is not a flight from the material world, but a journey through it, a gradual ascent through the layers of creation, each layer revealing a deeper dimension of God's presence. He sees the created world as a veil, a symbol, pointing towards the divine reality that lies beyond. As he writes, "Whoever wishes to ascend to God must first descend in humility with Jacob, then ascend through contemplation." This echoes the insights of Bernard of Clairvaux, emphasizing the importance of humility as the foundation for spiritual ascent. By acknowledging our limitations, our dependence on God, we open ourselves to the deeper truths that lie beyond the surface of the material world. Bonaventure's Itinerarium is not merely a theoretical treatise. It is a practical guide to the spiritual life, a roadmap for the soul's journey towards God. He outlines a series of contemplative practices, each step leading the soul closer to union with the divine. These practices include meditation on Scripture, contemplation of the divine attributes, and the cultivation of virtues such as humility, charity, and obedience. Through these practices, the soul is gradually purified, its senses attuned to the divine, its mind open to the mysteries of faith. Bonaventure's vision is not merely a rational ascent, a purely intellectual pursuit. It is a journey of the whole person, mind, body, and soul. It involves the cultivation of virtues, the purification of the senses, the transformation of the affections. It is a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and a deep trust in the guidance of the Holy Spirit. The culmination of Bonaventure's journey is mystical union, an ineffable experience of God beyond all words and concepts. This is not a mere intellectual understanding of God, but a direct experiential knowledge, a union of the soul with the divine. It is a state of profound peace, of ecstatic joy, of complete surrender to the will of God. Bonaventure's vision of the soul's journey towards God is not a solitary endeavor. It is a journey undertaken in community, supported by the prayers and guidance of fellow believers. The Franciscan order, with its emphasis on communal life, on service to the poor, on contemplation and prayer, provided a fertile ground for the cultivation of spiritual growth. Within the monastic community, individuals could support one another on their spiritual journeys, share their insights, and encourage one another in their pursuit of union with God. Bonaventure's Itinerarium remains a powerful and enduring work of spiritual theology. His vision of the soul's journey towards God, his emphasis on the importance of creation, of contemplation, of humility, continues to inspire and challenge seekers on the path to spiritual transformation. His work reminds us that the journey towards God is not a linear progression, but a dynamic process of growth and transformation, a lifelong engagement with the mysteries of faith. And so we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of Bonaventure, his vision of the soul's journey as a gradual ascent through the layers of creation, a journey that culminates in mystical union with the divine. His work reminds us that the created world is not merely a collection of material objects, but a reflection of God's glory, a pathway towards deeper understanding of the divine. It reminds us that the journey towards God is not a solitary endeavor, but a communal journey, undertaken in the company of fellow seekers, supported by the grace of God. Bonaventure's vision challenges us to see the divine in all things, to find God in the ordinary, to recognize the sacred in the mundane. It invites us to embark on our own journey of contemplation, to seek God in the depths of our own being, to experience the transformative power of divine grace. It is a call to embrace the mystery, to embrace the unknown, to embark on the lifelong adventure of seeking God in all things. The Zohar Kabbalistic ascent of 5,500 words. In medieval Jewish mysticism, particularly in the enigmatic and profound text known as the Zohar, Jacob's ladder takes on a cosmic significance, a profound cosmological and metaphysical dimension. The ladder, in this interpretation, is not merely a physical structure, but a symbol of the intricate pathways of creation, a map of the divine emanations that unfold throughout the universe. The rungs of the ladder, according to Kabbalistic tradition, correspond to the Sephirot, the 10 divine attributes through which God's infinite light manifests in creation. These Sephirot, arranged in a complex and interconnected pattern, form the tree of life, a map of the divine emanations that unfold throughout the cosmos. Each Sephira represents a unique aspect of God's being: wisdom, understanding, compassion, power, beauty, and many more. The ladder, in this interpretation, becomes a pathway through these divine emanations, a journey of spiritual ascent towards the ultimate source of all being. The angels in this Kabbalistic interpretation are not merely celestial beings, but symbols of the human soul on its journey of spiritual ascent. They ascend the ladder through spiritual practices, meditation, prayer, contemplation, acts of loving kindness, seeking to attain higher states of consciousness, to experience the divine more intimately. They descend the ladder, bearing the fruits of their mystical experiences, bringing divine wisdom and blessings back to the earthly plane, illuminating the path for others on their spiritual journey. The Zohar reads Jacob's experience not merely as a historical event, but as a profound mystical revelation. It suggests that Jacob, in his dream, experienced a glimpse of the soul's nightly journey. When a person lies down to sleep, the Zohar teaches, their soul departs from their body and ascends, and encounters celestial beings. During sleep, the soul, freed from the constraints of the physical body, is able to ascend the ladder of consciousness, to explore the higher realms of being, to experience a foretaste of the divine. Jacob's dream, in this interpretation, becomes a powerful symbol of the human soul's yearning for union with the divine, its innate longing to transcend the limitations of the physical world. It suggests that the path to spiritual enlightenment is not merely a theoretical pursuit, but a lived experience, a journey that unfolds both consciously and unconsciously, in waking life and in the realm of dreams. The Zohar emphasizes the importance of spiritual practice in cultivating this awareness. Through meditation, prayer, and acts of loving kindness, we can awaken the dormant spiritual potential within, cultivate a deeper connection with the divine, and ascend the ladder of consciousness, moving closer to the ultimate source of all being. Jacob's ladder, in the Kabbalistic tradition, is not merely a bridge between heaven and earth. It is a map of the soul's journey, a guide to the spiritual realms. It is a reminder that the divine is not a distant abstract entity, but a living presence within us, a spark of divinity that seeks to awaken and unfold within each of us. The Zohar, with its intricate cosmology and profound mystical insights, offers a powerful interpretation of Jacob's ladder, a vision that continues to inspire and challenge seekers on the path to spiritual enlightenment. It reminds us that the journey towards union with the divine is not a solitary endeavor, but a collective one, a shared quest for truth and meaning. It invites us to explore the depths of our own being, to awaken the dormant spiritual potential within, and to ascend the ladder of consciousness, moving closer to the ultimate source of all being. And so we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of the Zohar, its vision of the soul's journey as a mystical ascent, a journey through the divine emanations, a journey towards union with the ultimate source of all being. It reminds us that the divine is not a distant, abstract entity, but a living presence within us, a spark of divinity that seeks to awaken and unfold. It invites us to embark on our own spiritual journey, to explore the depths of our own being, to cultivate a deeper connection with the divine, and to ascend the ladder of consciousness, moving closer to the ultimate source of all being. Hildegard of Bingen, the Ladder of Virtues. Among the most remarkable and influential figures in medieval mysticism was Hildegard of Bingen, a visionary abbess, composer, and theologian. Hildegard, with her extraordinary visions and profound insights, offered a unique and compelling interpretation of Jacob's ladder, seeing it as a pathway adorned with virtues, a spiritual ascent towards divine union. For Hildegard, the ladder was not merely a symbolic representation, but a living reality, a truth she experienced directly in her extraordinary visions. In her masterwork, Scivias, Know the Ways, Hildegard described seeing a ladder of wondrous length on which God leaned. This ladder for Hildegard was not merely a physical structure, but a spiritual pathway, a journey of transformation, guided by the virtues. She saw humility as the foundation of this journey, the necessary starting point for any true spiritual ascent. From humility, the soul ascends through a series of virtues, patience, obedience, charity, and many more, culminating in the radiant embrace of divine love at the summit. Hildegard's interpretation of Jacob's ladder is deeply rooted in her understanding of the interconnectedness of all creation. She saw the virtues not as abstract concepts, but as living energies, flowing from God's divine love and infusing all aspects of creation with life. The ladder, in her vision, connects not merely abstract realms, but brings divine vitality into the material world, transforming the earth and its inhabitants. What truly distinguishes Hildegard's interpretation is her profound emphasis on viriditas, the greening power of God that infuses all creation with life. Viriditas is not merely a metaphor, but a living reality, a divine energy that permeates the earth, bringing forth growth, healing, and renewal. For Hildegard, Jacob's ladder is a pathway for this viriditas to flow, a conduit for divine life to descend into the material world, transforming it from within. Hildegard's vision is profoundly ecological as well as mystical. She saw heaven and earth as intimately connected, bound together by a living bond of divine love. The ladder, in her view, is not merely a pathway for the soul's ascent, bringing healing and renewal to the earth. She recognized that the spiritual and the material are not separate realms, but interwoven dimensions of a single, unified reality. Hildegard's understanding of the virtues is deeply practical, rooted in her experience of monastic life. She saw the virtues not as abstract ideals, but as concrete practices, embodied in the daily rhythms of prayer, work, and community. She recognized that the cultivation of virtue is not a solitary pursuit, but a communal endeavor, a shared journey of transformation undertaken in the company of fellow believers. Hildegard's vision of Jacob's ladder is a powerful reminder that the spiritual journey is not a flight from the world, but a transformation of the world. It is a call to embody the virtues, to live in harmony with creation, to cultivate viriditas in our own lives and in the lives of others. It is a call to recognize the sacredness of all things, to see God's presence in every aspect of creation. Hildegard's legacy extends far beyond her own time. Her vision of Jacob's ladder, her emphasis on viriditas, her understanding of the interconnectedness of all creation, continue to inspire and challenge seekers on the path to spiritual enlightenment. She reminds us that the journey towards union with God is not a solitary pursuit, but a communal endeavor, a shared journey of transformation undertaken in the company of fellow believers. And so, we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of Hildegard of Bingen, her vision of Jacob's ladder as a pathway adorned with virtues, a journey of transformation guided by divine grace. Her emphasis on viriditas reminds us that the spiritual and the material are not separate realms, but interwoven dimensions of a single unified reality. Her work invites us to embody the virtues, to live in harmony with creation, to cultivate viriditas in our own lives and in the lives of others. It is a call to recognize the sacredness of all things, to see God's presence in every aspect of creation, and to embark on our own journey of spiritual ascent, guided by the light of divine love. John 1:51, the Son of Man. In the Gospel of John, Jesus makes a remarkable and audacious claim to Nathanael, a claim that echoes the ancient dream of Jacob, a claim that redefines the very nature of divine revelation. Very truly, I tell you, Jesus declares, you will see heaven opened and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. John 1:51. The allusion to Jacob's ladder is unmistakable, a clear and deliberate reference to the foundational vision of the Old Testament. But now Jesus himself is presented as the fulfillment of that vision, as the true ladder, the ultimate mediator between heaven and earth. Jesus' declaration is not merely a poetic metaphor, it is a profound theological statement, a revelation of his divine identity and his salvific mission. He is the Son of Man, the one through whom heaven is opened, the one upon whom the angels of God ascend and descend. He is the bridge between God and humanity, the living embodiment of divine grace, the fulfillment of the ancient longing for connection with the transcendent. The early church fathers, those intellectual giants of the Christian tradition, seized upon this profound connection, recognizing the transformative power of Jesus' claim. Augustine, the great theologian of Hippo, wrote, "He is both above as Lord and below as servant. He is the ladder Jacob saw." Augustine recognized the paradoxical nature of Christ's incarnation, his simultaneous divinity and humanity, his role as both Lord and servant. He is the one who descends from the heights of heaven to the depths of human existence, the one who bridges the gap between the divine and the human. Gregory of Nyssa, another influential church father, suggested, every virtue is a step toward God, leading to the heights through the valley of humility. Gregory saw Christ as the embodiment of all virtues, the perfect example of humility, obedience, and love. He is the one who leads us on the path of spiritual ascent, guiding us through the valley of humility to the heights of divine communion. Gregory's words echo the insights of Bernard of Clairvaux, emphasizing the importance of humility as the foundation of spiritual growth. Christ's incarnation, the radical act of God becoming human, is the ultimate bridge, the true ladder that Jacob glimpsed in his dream. It is the moment when heaven and earth are united, when the divine and the human are reconciled. Through his incarnation, his life, his death, and his resurrection, Jesus opens the way for humanity to ascend to God, to participate in the divine life, to become children of God. The cross of Christ, the ultimate act of self-giving love, is the culmination of this divine bridge. It is through his sacrifice that we are redeemed, that we are reconciled to God. The cross is not merely a symbol of suffering, it is a symbol of hope, a symbol of new life, a symbol of the ultimate victory of love over death. The resurrection of Christ, the definitive act of God's power, is the ultimate affirmation of his divine identity and his salvific mission. It is the moment when the gates of heaven are opened, when the path to eternal life is made clear. Through his resurrection, Jesus becomes the firstborn from the dead, the pioneer of our salvation, the one who leads us into the fullness of God's kingdom. Jesus' claim in John 1:51 is not merely a historical statement. It is a living reality, a present truth that continues to unfold in the lives of believers. He is the true ladder, the one who connects us to God, the one who guides us on the path of spiritual ascent. Through faith in him, through communion with him, through obedience to his teachings, we are able to ascend to God, to participate in the divine life, to experience the fullness of his love. Jesus' claim is an invitation, a call to follow him, to walk in his footsteps, to ascend the ladder of divine love. It is a call to embrace humility, to cultivate virtue, to live a life of self-giving love. It is a call to become living witnesses to the transformative power of his grace, to become living ladders connecting others to the source of all life and love. And so we are left to ponder the profound mystery of Jesus Christ, the Son of Man, the true ladder, the one who opens the gates of heaven, the one who leads us to God. His claim in John 1:51 is not merely a historical statement, but a living reality, a present truth that continues to unfold in the lives of believers. It is an invitation to follow him, to walk in his footsteps, to ascend the ladder of divine love, to become living witnesses to the transformative power of his grace. Eastern Orthodox spirituality, the divine ladder. Nowhere has the imagery of Jacob's ladder had a more profound and enduring spiritual influence than in the heart of Eastern Orthodox Christianity. Here, the dream of a ladder connecting earth and heaven has been transformed into a comprehensive spiritual roadmap, a guide for the soul's journey towards union with God. The 7th century work, The Ladder of Divine Ascent, written by St. John Climacus, has become a foundational text for Orthodox spirituality, shaping the lives of countless monks and laypeople alike. John Climacus, a monk of St. Catherine's Monastery, drew upon the rich tradition of desert spirituality to create his masterpiece, a work that describes 30 distinct steps or rungs on the ladder of spiritual ascent. These 30 steps correspond to the 30 years of Christ's life before his public ministry, a symbolic connection that underscores the centrality of Christ in the Orthodox understanding of spiritual growth. Each step represents a virtue to be cultivated or a vice to be overcome, a specific challenge on the path towards theosis, the divinization of the human person through participation in God's energies. The iconic representation of this ladder, as seen in the renowned icon from St. Catherine's Monastery, is a powerful visual metaphor for the spiritual life. Monks, representing all believers, are depicted climbing the ladder, their faces showing the determination and perseverance required for spiritual growth. But the journey is not easy. Demons, representing the forces of evil, attempt to drag them down, symbolizing the constant struggle against temptation, sin, and the distractions of the world. Some monks, weakened by their struggles, fall from the ladder, illustrating the reality of human frailty and the need for constant vigilance. Others, strengthened by their faith and perseverance, continue their ascent, their eyes fixed on the ultimate goal, union with Christ. At the summit of the ladder, we see Christ himself, his arms outstretched in welcome, receiving those who have persevered in their ascent. This image underscores the Orthodox understanding of theosis, the process of becoming like God through grace. It is not merely a moral transformation, but a radical, ontological change, a participation in the divine energies, a sharing in God's very being. The goal of the spiritual life for Orthodox Christians is not simply to attain heaven after death, but to experience union with God in this life, to become a living icon of Christ. What began as Jacob's dream, a glimpse of a ladder connecting earth and heaven, has been transformed into a comprehensive spiritual roadmap, guiding generations of Eastern Christians on the path of theosis. The 30 steps of John Climacus's ladder are not merely abstract concepts, but practical guides for daily living, a framework for cultivating virtue, overcoming vice, and deepening one's relationship with God. They address a wide range of spiritual challenges, from overcoming anger and pride to cultivating humility and love. They offer insights into the nature of temptation, the importance of repentance, and the power of prayer. The Orthodox understanding of the spiritual life is deeply rooted in the liturgical tradition. The divine liturgy, the central act of Orthodox worship, is seen as a participation in the heavenly liturgy, a foretaste of the kingdom of God. The sacraments, particularly Holy Communion, are understood as channels of divine grace, empowering believers to grow in theosis. With their vibrant colors and symbolic imagery, are seen as windows into heaven, inviting believers to contemplate the divine mysteries. The Orthodox understanding of Jacob's ladder is not merely an individual journey, but a communal one. The monastic community, with its emphasis on shared prayer, communal meals, and mutual support, provides a fertile ground for spiritual growth. The spiritual father, or elder, plays a crucial role in guiding individuals on their spiritual journey, offering wisdom, encouragement, and correction. The community of saints, both living and departed, are seen as spiritual companions, interceding for believers and offering inspiration and guidance. The Orthodox understanding of Jacob's ladder is a holistic one, encompassing all aspects of human life. It is not merely a matter of intellectual assent or emotional experience, but a transformation of the whole person, mind, body, and soul. It involves cultivating virtue in one's thoughts, words, and actions. It involves purifying the passions, overcoming the vices, and cultivating the fruits of the Spirit. It involves living a life of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. It involves embracing the cross, bearing the burdens of others, and seeking the good of all. The legacy of John Climacus and the ladder of divine ascent continues to shape Orthodox spirituality to this day. It serves as a powerful reminder that the journey towards God is not an easy one, but it is a journey that is ultimately worth it. For in the words of St. John Climacus himself, "He who has climbed the ladder has reached the end of all desire." And so we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of Eastern Orthodox spirituality. Its vision of Jacob's ladder as a pathway towards theosis, the divinization of the human person through participation in God's energies. The ladder of divine ascent serves as a timeless guide for all those who seek to climb the ladder of spiritual growth, to cultivate virtue, to overcome vice, and to experience the fullness of union with God. It is a reminder that the journey towards God is not a solitary endeavor, but a communal one, supported by the prayers and guidance of fellow believers, and ultimately by the grace of God Himself. Unexpected holy ground. Jacob's profound declaration, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it," echoes across the centuries, speaking directly to our modern condition, a condition marked by a profound separation between the sacred and the secular, the spiritual and the material. We have in our contemporary world created a rigid dichotomy, a false divide between the holy and the ordinary. We confine the divine to designated spaces, to churches and temples, to moments of formal worship, while relegating the rest of our lives to the realm of the mundane. Yet Jacob's experience in the wilderness, his unexpected encounter with the divine on seemingly ordinary ground, challenges this very notion. Jacob's revelation suggests that divine encounter awaits us not in the grand cathedrals or the hallowed halls of religious institutions, but in the unlikely locations of our everyday lives. It awaits us in the hospital room, where fear and hope intertwine, in the subway car, where the rhythm of the city pulses, in the forest clearing, where the silence speaks volumes, in the busy kitchen, where the warmth of human connection fills the air. It awaits us in the very fabric of our ordinary existence, in the moments of joy and sorrow, in the moments of triumph and despair, in the moments of quiet contemplation and profound connection. Where, then, is your Bethel? Where might you, like Jacob, discover that ordinary ground is in fact holy ground? The 20th century theologian Paul Tillich, with his profound understanding of the nature of God, spoke of God as the ground of being, not a being among others, not a distant deity residing in a separate realm, but the very foundation of all existence, the source of all life, the essence of all reality. In this light, Jacob's ladder is not merely connecting distant realms, but revealing the true nature of reality, already present, the divine presence that permeates all things, the sacredness that underlies all existence. As the poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning so eloquently wrote, "Earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush afire with God. But only he who sees takes off his shoes." This powerful image speaks to the pervasive presence of the divine, the sacredness that permeates every aspect of creation. But it also speaks to the importance of perception, of our ability to see beyond the surface of things, to recognize the divine within the ordinary. It speaks to the need for reverence, for humility, for a willingness to take off our shoes, to acknowledge the sacredness of the ground we stand upon. In our modern world, we are often bombarded with distractions, with the noise and clamor of daily life. We are constantly pulled in different directions, our attention fragmented, our minds filled with a cacophony of thoughts and worries. It is in these moments of quiet contemplation, in these moments of stillness, that we can begin to cultivate the awareness of the divine presence, to recognize the sacredness of the ordinary. It is in these moments that we can begin to find our Bethel, to discover that the ground we stand upon is indeed holy ground. The challenge, then, is to cultivate a contemplative awareness, to learn to see the world with new eyes, to recognize the divine presence in the midst of the ordinary. It is to learn to see the sacred in the secular, the spiritual in the material. It is to learn to take off our shoes, to approach the world with reverence and humility, to acknowledge the sacredness of all things. The path to finding our Bethel is not merely a matter of intellectual understanding or emotional experience. It is a matter of action, of living a life of love and compassion. It is in our acts of kindness, in our moments of generosity, in our expressions of forgiveness, that we truly encounter the divine. It is in these moments that we become living ladders, connecting others to the source of all love and compassion. Jacob's experience reminds us that the divine is not confined to sacred spaces or religious rituals. It is present in the midst of our ordinary lives, in the moments of joy and sorrow, in the moments of triumph and despair. It is present in the hospital room, in the subway car, in the forest clearing, in the busy kitchen. It is present wherever we are, wherever we go. And so we are left to ponder the profound truth of Jacob's declaration, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it." It is an invitation to open our eyes, to cultivate a contemplative awareness, to recognize the divine presence in the midst of our ordinary lives. It is a call to take off our shoes, to approach the world with reverence and humility, to acknowledge the sacredness of all things. It is a reminder that our Bethel awaits us, not in some distant land or sacred space, but in the very ground we stand upon, in the very moments we inhabit. Contemplative practice, climbing in stillness. The medieval mystics, in their profound understanding of the spiritual life, recognized Jacob's ladder not merely as a historical event or a theological symbol, but as a practical map for contemplative practice, a guide for the soul's journey towards union with the divine. In our contemporary world, marked by digital distraction, constant noise, and the relentless pursuit of external validation, this ancient wisdom speaks with renewed urgency, offering a pathway to inner peace, to spiritual connection, to the discovery of our own ladder moments. Contemplative practices, whether they be centering prayer, meditation, yoga, labyrinth walking, or artistic creation as spiritual discipline, create a sacred space within, a space of quietude, a space of reflection, a space where we can step away from the clamor of the world and turn our attention inward. They create the conditions for our own ladder moments, moments of profound connection with what transcends us, moments of recognition of the divine presence within and around us. The 14th century mystical text, The Cloud of Unknowing, offers a powerful image of contemplative practice. Beat upon that thick cloud of unknowing with a sharp dart of longing love. This is ladder climbing in stillness, not a physical ascent, not a journey to some distant realm, but an inward journey, an upward reach of the heart, a yearning for union with the divine. It is a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the cloud of unknowing, to surrender to the mystery of God's presence. The contemplative tradition suggests that, like Jacob, we may awaken from our unconsciousness, from our spiritual slumber, to recognize that the divine is not distant but immediate, not future but present, not above but alongside. It is a recognition that God is not an object to be grasped, but a presence to be experienced, a love to be embraced. It is a recognition that the kingdom of God is not a place to be reached, but a reality to be discovered within. Contemplative practice is not about escaping the world, but about transforming our relationship to it. It is about cultivating a deeper awareness of the present moment, a heightened sense of gratitude for the gift of life, a profound appreciation for the beauty and wonder of creation. It is about learning to see the world with new eyes, to recognize the sacredness of all things, to find God in the midst of the ordinary. Contemplative practice is not a solitary pursuit, but a communal one. It is about cultivating compassion for others, about extending love and kindness to all beings, about working for justice and peace in the world. It is about recognizing that we are all interconnected, that we are all part of the same human family, that we are all children of God. Contemplative practice is not a quick fix or a magic formula. It is a lifelong journey, a process of ongoing growth and transformation. It requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the challenges and uncertainties of the spiritual path. But the rewards are immeasurable. Inner peace, spiritual connection, a deeper sense of meaning and purpose, a profound experience of God's love. In our contemporary world, where we are constantly bombarded with information and stimulation, contemplative practice offers a refuge, a sanctuary, a space of inner stillness where we can reconnect with our deepest selves. with the source of all being, with the love that sustains us. It offers a pathway to finding our Bethel, to discovering that the ground we stand upon is indeed holy ground. And so we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of the contemplative tradition, its understanding of Jacob's ladder as a map for inner transformation, a journey towards union with the divine. It is an invitation to cultivate stillness, to embrace the cloud of unknowing, to open our hearts to the mystery of God's presence. It is a call to beat upon that thick cloud of unknowing with a sharp dart of longing love, to embark on our own journey of contemplative practice, to discover the ladder moments that await us in the stillness of our hearts, building altars in daily life. Jacob, after his profound encounter with the divine, responded by building an altar, a tangible symbol of his experience, and making a vow, a commitment to live differently. How, then, do we honor our own threshold experiences, those moments when the veil between heaven and earth seems to thin, when we glimpse the sacred in the midst of the ordinary? How do we translate these moments of awe and wonder into concrete actions, into a life lived with greater awareness and purpose? Perhaps we honor them through gratitude, acknowledging the gift of these moments, expressing our appreciation for the divine presence in our lives. Perhaps we honor them through creative expression, translating our experiences into art, music, poetry, or other forms of creative endeavor. Perhaps we honor them through commitments to live differently, to cultivate virtue, to extend compassion, to work for justice and peace in the world. The writer Annie Dillard, in her characteristic style, warns, "We should wear crash helmets to church. We should lash ourselves to the pew, for the sleepy God may wake someday and take us in a crash." This powerful image speaks to the transformative potential of divine encounter, the radical change that can occur when we truly open ourselves to the presence of God. It suggests that our encounters with the sacred should not leave us unchanged, but should awaken us to a new way of seeing, a new way of living. The ladder connecting heaven and earth ultimately asks for response, not just wonder, not just contemplation, but a commitment to action, a willingness to translate our spiritual experiences into concrete expressions of love and justice. Jacob, after his encounter with the divine, pledged 1/10 of all he had, a tangible symbol of his gratitude and commitment. Our response might be different, but authentic encounter with the divine always sends us back to transform our corner of the world, to bring the light of God's love into the darkness of human suffering. The medieval mystics, in their profound wisdom, understood that contemplation and action are not opponents, but partners, two sides of the same coin. We ascend the ladder in prayer, in contemplation, in moments of quiet reflection, to descend again in service, in acts of love and justice, in the building of community. We cultivate inner stillness to cultivate outward action, to bring the peace and love of God into the world. Building altars in daily life is not about creating physical structures or performing elaborate rituals. It is about cultivating a spirit of reverence, a sense of sacredness in the midst of our ordinary lives. It is about transforming our homes, our workplaces, our communities into sacred spaces, places where the presence of God can be felt, where the love of God can be shared. It is about marking significant moments with ritual, creating moments of pause, moments of reflection, moments of gratitude. It is about building community through shared meals, through acts of service, through the sharing of stories and experiences. It is about cultivating a culture of compassion, a culture of justice, a culture of peace. Building altars in daily life is about cultivating a contemplative awareness, a sense of inner stillness in the midst of the noise and clamor of the world. It is about learning to see the sacred in the secular, the spiritual in the material, the divine in the ordinary. It is about taking off our shoes, acknowledging the sacredness of the ground we stand upon, the sacredness of the moments we inhabit. And so we are left to ponder the profound wisdom of Jacob's response, his building of an altar, his making of a vow. It is an invitation to translate our own threshold experiences into concrete actions, into a life lived with greater awareness and purpose. It is a call to build altars in our daily lives, to cultivate a spirit of reverence, to extend compassion, to work for justice and peace in the world. It is a reminder that our encounters with the divine should not leave us unchanged, but should awaken us to a new way of seeing, a new way of living, a new way of loving. Awakening. Jacob awoke from his sleep, not as the same man who had laid his head on a stone pillow, but as a man transformed, a man touched by the divine, the trickster, the supplanter, the one who had grasped at blessings, was now beginning his journey towards becoming Israel, one who struggles with God, a name that would carry the weight of divine covenant and human wrestling. His declaration, echoing through the centuries, resonates with the power of a life-altering revelation. How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. Genesis 28:17. These words, uttered in awe and wonder, are not merely a description of a physical location, but a testament to the transformative power of divine encounter. Each of us, in our own lives, stands before our own gates of heaven, our own thresholds of transformation, our own opportunities to recognize the divine presence in our midst. These gates are not always grand or dramatic. They are often found in the ordinary moments of our daily lives, in the quiet whispers of our hearts, in the unexpected encounters with others. The ladder that Jacob saw, the bridge between heaven and earth, does not connect distant realms so much as it reveals what has always been true. Heaven and earth are not separated by unbridgeable distance, but connected in every moment, every breath, every encounter. May we, like Jacob, have eyes to see the ladders all around us, the pathways to the divine that are woven into the fabric of our everyday lives. May we recognize in our own wilderness moments, those times of uncertainty, isolation, and struggle, that we stand on holy ground, that the divine is present, even in our darkest hours. And may we, like Jacob, build our own altars of gratitude, not because we have reached a destination, not because we have attained some final state of perfection, but because we have glimpsed, if only in dreams, the truth of our connection to the divine, the reality of God's love that surrounds and sustains us. The journey of Jacob, the story of his ladder, is not merely a tale from the past, but a living invitation, a call to awaken to the divine presence in our own lives. It is a reminder that the sacred is not confined to sacred spaces or religious rituals, but permeates every aspect of our existence. It is a call to cultivate a contemplative awareness, to see the world with new eyes, to recognize the holy in the ordinary. It is a call to build altars of gratitude, to translate our experiences of the divine into concrete expressions of love and justice. It is a call to become living ladders, connecting others to the source of all life and love. Thank you for accompanying us on this profound exploration of Jacob's ladder. the bridge between earth and heaven, a divine encounter in the wilderness. If this journey into the depths of divine revelation and the transformative power of grace has touched you, we invite you to join the Hope in God community. Subscribe for more theological reflections, share your own experiences of encountering the sacred in your daily life, and let us continue together finding hope in every step of our shared pilgrimage towards a deeper understanding of the bridge between heaven and earth.